Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to make some wounds today. You can prepare these in advance, like the night before, and they will be absolutely fine to use the next day. What I'm going to do, sorry the top's just come off my glue. I'm going to use this Skin Sculpt, which is skin safe silicone, and what I did is I thought I'd use this. You can do the exact same process with latex, it just takes more layers, but obviously quite a lot of people are allergic to latex, and I thought, well, this stuff, I've not heard of anyone allergic to it, so there's this we can use. So what I'm going to do is use this to show you how. Excuse the state of my hands. I've just cleaned up my desk from yesterday's special effects filming, and I've got face paint everywhere, and I've just spot cleaned my brushes. So what you do with this stuff, you've got part A, B and C. A and B are the main bits you need. Part C makes it dry. Does this make it dry a bit slower? Oh, the part C makes it so it's like softer and stretchier if you're applying it to like areas that are going to move a lot. But I'm just going to do a couple. It's not really going to be movable areas, so I'm just going to use A and B. And all you do is just take a chunk of part A, and a little of this does go quite a long way. I'm going to put that on a separate. I'm going to put that in a separate little dish to mix it. I'm just using the lid off. I'm using the bottom of a box and a lid. If you've got like a sort of plasticky surface, then that's what you need. Then you've got to make sure you remove any traces of part A off your spatula, because you don't want to get any of part B into, and any part A into part B tub, because it will start to set and you might get hard lumps, and that will be a waste of Skin Sculpt. So now I'm going into part B, and it's just a 50-50 mix. I mean, as you can see, I've had this for over a year and I've only used half of it, so it does last quite a while. You do a 50-50 mix, I'm just eyeballing it. About that much will be fine. And then just make sure you close the lids, so I'm going to put that to one side. And then all you do is you mix it up, you mix the two parts together thoroughly. And what I like about this is because it's clear, it's easy to blend in. If you wanted to colour this, you could add a bit of pigment to it. I think you can add a powder, like a foundation powder, if you wanted to colour it. I've done that before. There's probably specific stuff that's like works better, but I don't tend to worry too much about colouring the silicone. I find it matches any skin tone then. So this is thoroughly mixed. I'll just scrape off my spatula. Then what I'm going to do is form the wound on here that I want to create. So I'm going to get some of it onto my spatula, like a little roll of it. And I'm just going to run that across this box. Like so. I'm going to flatten it out a bit. I'm just going to flatten out the edges. Get the edges as thin as you can. My spatula's a bit bent, which doesn't help. Just get something I can smooth this down with. Just trying to get it smooth as I can. I'm just wetting my finger, blending those edges in. You want the edges really thin. We can build up the bulk of it in the middle in a minute, but if you can get the edges thin now, it's going to save you a lot of time afterwards when it comes to blending it in with the skin. So that's like the base layer that I've put on. Sorry you can't see this mega well. There you go. So that's like a base layer. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bead of the silicone in the middle because I want to add some bulk to this wound. So I'm just building up the centre by just applying a blob of the silicone in the middle. Like so. And again I'm going to get a baby wipe and dampen my finger and just smooth that down a bit. If it starts to stick with your finger, just dampen your finger again. I found as long as your finger's moist, so if you put some like hand cream on or a bit of water, or like me just damping your finger with baby wipes, I tend to find that works quite well. So I've just blended out those edges to blend in that raised bit with the rest, like so. So I'm not going to have any particular massively obvious edges on the outside of the wound. Then what I'm going to do is clean off my palette knife. Keep calling it a spatula, but it's a palette knife, but same thing. I've got a spatula somewhere that's plastic that works just as well. And I've left that damp, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to create the wound in the middle, to create the gap. So I'm going to just use this to scrape away the silicone in the middle. So I'll mark it out by going with the palette knife sideways, and now I'm going to have the palette knife this way and use it to drag a little channel into this. And I'm turning my palette knife as I get to the end because I want the wound to taper off into a point. Like so. So that's now created the hole in the middle. Okay, so that's one. Just to get rid of a bit of the tackiness off the surface. Then what I'm going to do is if I gently lift up an edge, and then as you can see it peels off, like so. And then this can be applied to the skin, and I find when they're fresh there is enough tackiness to stick onto the skin, as you can see. So that's going to stick on. If you want it to be a bit more secure so it stay on for a night, then what I recommend you do is get a small amount of the silicone, put it underneath, and then stick this on top. It will be a much more secure fit and it will stay on for a lot longer.